So the farmer kept on stammering that and wanted to tell that he was not a detective but a doctor. Please come. The king wants you and your wife to have lunch with him before you look for the ring. So the messenger did not even listen to what the farmer was saying, and he said that he invited the farmer along with his wife to go and have lunch with the king, and after that he would search for the ring. The farmer and his wife went to the palace. His Majesty is waiting for you in the banqueting hall. Now, what is a banqueting hall? It's a place where many people gather for some meal. Okay. So, when both of them went to the palace, the messenger was there and he said that His Majesty, here His Majesty means the king. Okay. His Majesty means the king. King is waiting for you in the banquet hall. I have heard that they serve almost 100 dishes at these banquets. So his wife was very excited. She said that she had heard that the kings serve at least 100 dishes in the banquets. Let's keep a count, the farmer whispers. The servant brought in the first course. Over here, what do you mean by course? It's the first part of the meal, one part of the meal, okay? Here comes the first. So when the servant brings the first course of meal, the farmer is counting. So he says, here comes the first. Okay. The servant turned pale. Pale means lost color of his face because he was feeling afraid. And he returned to the kitchen. He ran to the kitchen. The detective knows that the three of us stole the ring. He said, I was the first. What do we do? So he is saying that he is imagining, he is thinking that the detective knows that that there were three cooks over there. So these three cooks have stolen the ring. And that is why as soon as I entered the room, the servant pointed at me and said that I was the first. So what the other one says, stop imagining things. What do you mean by imagining? Stop making stories. Stop thinking absurd things which are not true. So he said, stop imagining things. The second servant went to serve the next dish. There comes the second. Now as soon as they see the second servant, the farmer whispers that there comes the second. Now what was the servant actually talking about? What was the farmer actually talking about? The farmer was actually talking about the number of dishes that they were getting, the number of food items. And over here, the servants were thinking that he knows that they are the culprits and so thieves, and that is why he is counting them. The servant returned to the kitchen terrified. Terrified means scared. So, now you know that I wasn't imagining things? Huh. So the first one now says, now you understand that I was not imagining things. You always keep on teasing me. We must make him come here to the kitchen so that we can tell him not to report us to the king. So the second servant gives a good idea. He says, let us call the detective in the kitchen and let us tell him not to inform the king, not to report about them to the king. The first servant quickly wrote a note to the farmer. So now how will they do the work? The first servant wrote a note to the farmer. Give this to him, but see that you don't arouse suspicion. So now first servant writes the note and gives to the third servant. He goes with the third dish, and so he gives the note and tells that go and give this to the detective, but see that nobody should understand that something is wrong. Over here, the third servant enters with the third dish, and the farmer is excited and he says that here comes the third one. So he talks about the third dish. The servant dropped the note discreetly onto the farmer's lap. Discreetly means without drawing anyone's attention, very carefully. The servant dropped the note discreetly onto the farmer's lap. The farmer read the message. after the meal was over, he went to the kitchen. So the farmer read the message that was written on the piece of paper. Once he had read, he then went into the kitchen. How did you know we stole the ring? So now the first servant was very scared. Out of scare, he asked the farmer, how did you know that we are the ones who stole the ring?